My name is Kriti Shah. I'm a junior fellow at the Observer Research Foundation in the Department of Strategic Studies. My research focuses on Afghanistan and Pakistan, and I track the developments in the region. So irrespective of whether someone supports the removal of Article 370 or whether you don't support the removal, one thing which I think Indians can, be united is in that fact that Pakistan's arguments have been extremely hypocritical. One of their main arguments has been that the removal of the article would lead to massive changes in the demographic profile of Kashmir. Now, this is just not true. While it does change its political and economic status, there's going to be no change in Kashmir's religious, ethnic, cultural, or linguistic identities or beliefs. So people who plan to buy a property in Kashmir or perhaps plan to invest in a business are going to do so voluntarily, and they're not going to be forced to do it. Given such a ethnically diverse country like India, you can have a Punjabi move to Bengal and the person's going to remain a Punjabi. He's not going to threaten Bengal's identity and its culture. And the same thing goes for Kashmir. So, like I said, it's really rich coming from Pakistan that there's going to be changes in the demographic profile of Kashmir, because the part of Kashmir which is under Pakistan's illegal occupation, specifically Gilgit-Baltistan, has seen massive demographic changes over the years. In the 70s, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, he removed the state subject rule, which with the exact intention to change the demographic profile of the region. So while the region is predominantly Shia Muslim and Ismaili Muslim, there were many Sunni Muslims who were forced to settle in the region. Pashtuns, a lot of people of the Taliban cadre who began living in Gilgit-Baltistan so that they could change the demography of the region. And they've sort of masked this population displacement, which has happened as an unintended consequence of development, in which, China is building a dam. So, of course, people are going to be displaced without really caring for the people in the region. And they've forcefully done it. So their argument's really hypocritical. So it's ironic that the Pakistani media has been lecturing the Indian media, especially on Kashmir, when Pakistan media is known internationally to have absolutely no freedom. And there's been brazen censorship, particularly in the last year since Imran Khan has become prime minister. It was in December of last year that PEMRA, which is the Pakistan Electronic Media Regulatory Authority, they issued a notice in which they told TV channels to stop excessive coverage of kidnappings, crime reportings, sexual abuse, and terrorism. They explicitly told TV channels, don't do this because it's going to give Pakistan a negative image in the world. And the funny thing or the ironic thing is that they put up this message on Twitter so that the whole world could see what they had done. In the past year, there have been TV anchors and editors of newspapers who've been put in jail, who've lost their jobs, who have been harassed. If they have covered either the Sharif family, so if they have tracked Nawaz Sharif's trial, or if they have aired Maryam Nawaz's interviews, if they have followed the Pashtun Tahfuz movement, they are under threat. If they have questioned the army, or if they've questioned any manipulation in the elections, they have been clamped down upon. Within the last month, there have been 3 channels who've been taken off the air. There have been over 20 news stations which have received notice only because they did a live airing of Maryam Sharif's press conference. That was enough for them to get an issue that you can't report on this. There's been continued disruption in, this is not only TV channels, but even in print channels, print newspapers, online websites, and TV stations. This is across the board where they've had problems in their circulation. There's a news channel which had aired Asif Ali Zardari's interview with a private station, and minutes after it went on air, it was absolutely removed. Now, this is not to say that the Indian media is completely faultless and that we don't make any mistakes. But if there's one thing we can agree on after the removal of Article 370, is that there have been so many different voices, so many different viewpoints, and so many different opinions coming from across the board on what the removal of Article 370 means. And at least media organizations are allowed to speak whatever they believe is the truth. And there has been no censorship on what should be reported and what not. You can make an argument that there might be some channels which are for the government, as much as you can make the argument that there are channels that are against the government. And that's a difference in our medias. See, Pakistan's main aim has been, let us talk about Kashmir so much and let us make it seem as if it is a disputed region so that other world powers take notice of it and sort of try to intervene or make an offer of intervening. Because they believe it's a disputed region. India's stance is completely different. It's not a disputed region. Just remove yourself from Kashmir, and that's what it is. So as I see things progressing, this is typical Pakistan playbook. They're going to keep calling people up. They're going to keep trying to get people onto their side and get support for themselves. But I think that people understand that it's an internal issue. I think they understand the intention behind which the article was removed. The intention, irrespective of everything, has been to improve security and to improve business and investment in Kashmir. And people understand that. Now, whether the government will be successful in doing this, time is going to tell. There are going to be further policies which will be developed to help Kashmir. But I think that world powers understand the intention behind what India did. And they're going to support it and they're going to realize that. Thank you so much for joining me. To read more about this, you can read my article in the link in the description.